Hi there guys, Raymond here, also known as Rayvision, and welcome back to another Forza Horizon 3 Top 10 list. Now, before we get started, I just want to tell you a few things. First off, the next Top 10 list to come out is going to be the Top 10 cars for Blizzard Mountains. So if you have any cars that you think are really great on snow, of course, these are all going to be stock cars, the only upgrade being spoke tires, basically the snow tire compound. Leave those in the comments below so I know. So, today we're going to be counting down the top 10 best handling cars in Forza Horizon 3. Now, to determine this, I didn't do some sort of bias machine, no. I took all of you guys into a stream and we tested about 30 different cars, which I then retested myself, which took a lot of time. And how I tested them is I used the G-force meter, basically, and whichever cars were able to output the highest values without losing traction in a corner were basically the best corners in the game because they can sustain the most amount of G's without flying off the road. That's how it works. So, if there are cars that I missed, please let me know. And with all this covered, let's get started. Now, I forgot to mention this in the intro, but all the cars in this list are stock. So, number 10, the Pagani Huayra BC, and I'm sorry if I massacred the name, I'm not that great with it. And it managed to pull off a force of 2.12 Gs in the turn, which is quite a lot of force if you ask me. That's twice the force of gravity going sideways to the right or to the left when it corners. And just having driven this car and knowing it's a Pagani, you guys would know that this thing can corner like a champ, whether it's slow, whether it's fast. Coming in at number 9 is our first Lamborghini, and that is the Aventador SV. Scoring a body acceleration of a lateral 2.22, just barely beating out the Pagani's force. It is mighty quick in the corners, and it is an absolute beast. And for those of you wondering, oh, how do we know that it's the maximum force they can achieve? I'm sure you could probably get these cars to achieve maximum forces, but I did multiple runs with all cars, and I just basically kicked them sideways as hard as I could to see what kind of forces I could get out of them, and this is what I got. At number 8, we find ourselves with the Ultima 720, just barely beating out the score of its predecessors with a lateral G-force of 2.33, which is mighty strong indeed. In fact, the Ultima I did not even think about for this list until someone took it out on stream and told me, wow, it scores really well, Raymond, and when I thought about it, the Ultima is a really good all-around car, and why wouldn't it be on this list? It's one of the best corners in the game, as you can see. Now, an argument could be made that the cars on this list could be switched locations, and I agree with you completely. There's no guarantee that I was able to score the best G-force possible with a specific car. That being said, I believe that the bottom 5 of this list could be interswitched depending on who is driving, but that all the cars on this list are incredible corners. Having said that, let's move on to our number 7 entry, the Radical RXZ Turbo. Scoring a 2.39, just barely beating out the competition in the number 8 position. The only thing really preventing this car from making it any further on this list is that upgrades are not allowed. And by this I mean, the car is a monster at corners, but it does not have enough speed to force out those extra Gs that the later cars do in this list. As a result, it is stuck in 7th position. Welcome to number 6, where we are graced by basically the new titan of Forza Horizon 3, and that is the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento. Now, first off, this thing is an absolute monster. Second off, it scored 2.71 lateral Gs, not only being one of the best drag cars in the game, but also being one of the best corner cars in the game, probably being one of the best race cars in the game, period. So with that in mind, I leave you with the Lamborghini. Welcome to the top 5, where basically everything starts being really close between all the cars except for number 1, which is absolutely dominant. So, at number 5, we find ourselves in the grace of the Lamborghini Veneno, scoring a top G-force of 2.74. While I did manage to score a top G-force of 3, it was in a banked incline turn and I started losing traction, so I did not count that force and referred to the next highest, which was 2.74, limiting it to the 5th position on this list. Now, for those of you wondering why the LaFerrari has not shown up on this list yet, simply put, I decided not to include it because this car made the list, and that is the LaFerrari FXXK, which is an absolute beast, scoring a lateral G-force of 2.88, differentiating itself quite a bit from the past two, which were very close, and this thing is just a monster. Not only is the LaFerrari fast, it sounds great, it looks absolutely impeccable, and it's a monster in the corners. Now, at number 3, we have something I really didn't expect. I did not expect the Zonda to beat the newer car, which is the Huayra BC, which had a G-force of 2.12, if you guys remember, while the Zonda managed to score a lateral G-force of 2.9. Never heard of this, the older car being the new car. What is this? Is Pagani trying to scam us? Well, no matter what it is, the Zonda takes the number 3 position on this list. At number 3, we have a car that I think everybody expected to make on this list. I know I did, and I'm not surprised with the results. I just did not expect it to be this good. It is the McLaren P1, managing to pull off a 3.14 lateral Gs, being the first car on this list to break the free mark, and not the last, obviously. It is mighty around the corners. While it does struggle in the slower corners because you may lose traction in the rear, with good throttle control and at high speeds, it is an undisputed king of going around the corners. Now, at number 1, we find ourselves with the Koenigsegg OnetoOne, which is not what I expected it to take first place, but when you think about how I've been evaluating the cars and the fact that, of course, it's not perfect, as it's not fully encompassing or representative of the cars, it makes complete sense, because the Koenigsegg is the fastest cornering car in the game, period. When you're at top speed in the Koenigsegg and you turn, the car will turn no matter how fast you're going. That downforce, that traction is there, and as a result, Koenigsegg takes number 1 with an incredible 3.78 lateral G-force, which is so much further away than anything else we've had. It is the undisputed champion of cornering at high speeds. Well, that is going to be it for today, guys. If you have any disagreements with the top 10 list, please let me know in the comments below, as I am open to any suggestions. As well, keep in mind that the next top 10 list will be the top 10 cars on Blizzard Mountain, so leave your suggestions in the comments below as well. As well, these videos take me a huge amount of time to do, especially this time. I tested about 30 cars, and I would really appreciate if you guys would subscribe, like, share,